Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to anyone and wherever you're listening across all platforms and streams. I'm here with Adam Van Spanje from ICB, based down in Sydney. We're very close. We've done some work over the years and we're doing more work behind the scenes, which we'll announce later on this podcast. But I'm getting him on here today to give you a bit of a breakdown and background info of himself, his business and where he's got it to, and the work and vision of where he wants to get to in the future. So, Adam, welcome aboard, mate.
Thanks very much for having me, Sam. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you liking the setup.
It's best. I love it.
How's the trip up?
Mate, trip was awesome. School holidays, busy on both ends, Sydney and Queensland arriving and leaving Sydney. It was absolutely packed. Everyone wanted to get out of the rainy city and come up here. So,
dude, I got a question, man. You came up with your missus.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah.
Right? But you've been with me for an hour, chatting, having a coffee, talking shit. Now you're doing a podcast for another hour. How are you let off the hook for that long on holiday?
Well, obviously this is, I'm up here representing the business. So business brings in money, which allows my family to come up here and go to movie world and live the life for a school holidays as a young 6-year-old little boy would loves to do. Is, he came up here once before, went to movie world, and it's all now every time school holiday comes up, it's like, I want to go to movie world. So we sort of fit two in with the.
So who runs the ship, the missus or the boy?
Oh, look, the missus runs the ships, followed by my boy, and then followed by me last.
Yeah. So you're in the old coal trains. You're feeding the coal into the train to keep it going. But that's your job.
100%. And any other guy that says differently is full of shit.
Well, I think coming in, when you're trying to start up business and things like that, being a father, I like that. But like people see me with my daughter. And they're like, oh, you're wrapped around a finger. I'm like, I wouldn't have it any other fucking way. Eh?
Yeah. Look, if my son or my family are with me, like I love it. Like if it's business, even the last time I was up here for business, I brought them up. I love having my family with me. When it comes to, this sort of stuff, work's fun for me. And if I have my family with me, I actually work better. I love going out for dinner with my family, and I come to work today. We were out last night. Had a nice meal together. We get up, we go for a walk. My son's with me, and then I come here. I do this. I see him afterwards.
I think that's the thing, bro.
It always works together. My family and I, we gel. I can't do it without them.
Dude, I'm the same, man. Like I give so much time to my work and my craft and what I'm doing, and even being a pro bodybuilder, that's a full time gig. But like people say to me, your plans for next year. Sergio's hassling me a lot. Get over and train with him for 12 weeks, but it's like. All that's cool, but like I just don't know if I could spend that much time away.
Yeah, totally
agree. All, man.
Totally agree.
I'm just trying to work out a thing now with Paul at the moment to see if we can organise something where she can come over like halfway through or something like that. I'm doing a prep or whatever. Because that's the thing that I think you got right. When you take your family with you, then you can go commit to what we're doing today 100%.
Yeah, but I think they're my biggest motivation. Like my son, I love that he knows what I do. I love that he wants to train near the gym with me. I love that he does his martial arts with me. I love that we do it together. He loves the industry. He loves what I do. So, they're my biggest inspiration, my son and my wife. So, yeah, I got to have them with me.
But dude, I love that. I remember when I was young, and my dad was just in the building game. He's like, you want to come with me today? I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
I'm not doing anything. I just sit in the car and go with him. And, half the time it was probably boring, whatever, but just being on the road with him, doing shit, just being in his company. Yeah. Yeah, it's good times, man. You'll remember all that kind of stuff.
And I'd see a lot of my other mates or even relatives, like you can never get that time back. If you miss it, it's gone.
Yeah, man.
You don't ever get that back. You can't rewind it and go, oh, God, I wish I had taken him there. Like you don't do it. There's no turning back time.
When Nye was coughing up all through the night last night, just wanting to cuddle in my chest, I wasn't getting any sleep, bro. I'm like, soon she won't want this off me. You know what I mean? She won't want a bar off me, so I'm just going to lap it up for as long as I can.
Yeah, exactly. and my dad jokes only go so far. I know eventually.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to eventually be like, Dad, stop.
I love saying that to people when they tell me a bad joke. I say, oh, you leave the dad jokes to me, all right? So tell us a bit about yourself, bro. You got a highly successful business, very, very busy. So give us the background. What are you doing?
So ICB, basically we're a sports medicine clinic. We look after everything to do with anything health related, especially with blood work. So from erectile dysfunction, hair treatment, weight management, fertility, anything testosterone related, hormone related, we look after it.
So that's the thing, man. Like anything in that regard, can be quite taboo, because people are, well, the good thing about, social media and how everything is so available now, people are getting somewhat educated. Doesn't mean it's not taboo though. They're just understanding that, these are big parts of our lives. People are usually very embarrassed to talk about these type of things.
And I think for a while there, it was, we saw a huge shift in change and it was due to COVID. Like our business absolutely boomed pretty much halfway through COVID. And I think with the push for this mandatory vaccine and all that sort of stuff, people were looking for different avenues of internal health, how to keep their levels at a certain level so that they could stay healthy. During COVID, everyone was looking for a different avenue, and our business boomed. We were getting so many people veering from through social media, or even through Google, looking for a different way, and peptides and hormone treatment and looking after your bloods or knowing what was going on internally was a huge shift for us. So our business actually boomed during COVID. And I left my previous job. I was always working for my father, part-time subcontract for him. And I came on full-time because of the way COVID actually just accelerated our business.
It's funny how there's a lot of businesses actually did boom through COVID.
100%.
A lot of people saw it as a thing to, fall apart. For me, even with my gym, that was the start for me, really, when I kind of realized I was just training out of my own garage. And I'm like, you know what? I think I actually want to replicate this to a bigger spot and do my own thing.
Yeah.
Nothing against the place I was working at, but people see opportunities in those places of adversity. So what is that? So tell me, when people are coming through COVID and they're looking for this and looking for that, you obviously start to see, we're sitting on something good here. You're doing something good for the community. You're obviously helping people, which is, it always has to be the baseline of your passion is actually helping people. So how'd you put that to a bigger scale?
So look, that was something we've always done. My father is also one of the owners of the business. I love working with my dad, and he's been passionate about this since one of the first peptide clinics that we had, which was we opened it up actually on the 4th of July, 2008, and that was in Bondi Junction in Sydney. It was myself and two other guys. Myself, my father, and two other guys, and Steve Dank, which is a household name now in the health and fitness industry. But we started it off, and we were doing the whole peptide route because it wasn't illegal back then. Obviously, some things happened, and where my father has now, after all the adversity, controversy that happened with it from February 2016, he changed it into a company called ICB, which stands for the Institute of Cellular Biomedicine. And that just absolutely took off because we went down a route where my father chose to bring on doctors on board, specialists. We were looking after stem cells. He went down the route where you couldn't do anything unless you did a blood test. We really wanted to find out what was going on internally, and we got doctors that were actually looking at new age medicine as for helping people rather than the typical pharmaceutical route. So blood work was a huge thing that was probably one of the biggest changes, that you couldn't get anything unless you did a blood test. And it's quite an in-depth one. So you knew exactly, for male and female, you knew exactly where you were at and how, by taking a certain product, just because someone was taking it, where your levels were different to everyone else. So everyone's bloods are different. Your DNA is an amazing thing when you look into it, and where you can actually change something internally, make yourself healthier, lose body fat, drop cholesterol, bring fertility up, like sexual dysfunction, how you can treat all these different things just from using
Coffee Run.
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chuck.
Oh, thank you, mate. Legend.
Make sure Alfie get in. Give me a Actually, I don't want to cut this part out. I like it. Thanks, bro. So look, I think I love hearing that, because I did a podcast recently with my GP, and we're talking about blood work.
Yeah.
And dude, the amount of times I get asked from people, young guys, they want to be my size, and they go, "Oh man, what peds do you run?" It's like, dude, fucking matter what I run.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about the dosage. It doesn't matter that shit, because you're different to me. Like it doesn't. None of that kind of stuff works like that. Same with diet. Same with, or it's not just to do with that kind of stuff. It's not just I'm talking in everything in life, and what different
everything's
foods.
about, and the education on that, I think, is huge. And I think we are slowly shifting to understanding like the education and understanding what's really going on inside your body. You've got to know. I mean, especially you're taking a needle and you want to put it into your body and inject something. You've got to know that, one, you're putting the right thing that's actually going to help with what's going on internally. Like, do you need this product or do you need something else? Are your levels already high? You might need something else in terms of anabolics. Are your IGF's high, your IGF's low, your hormone?
And you know what, man? That's why I hate people that come around, because I'm from the ped side of things in the bodybuilding world, right? And they say, you know, this drug fucking Primobolan does this, it does this. It doesn't fucking do that. Like it may have worked well for you, but it doesn't mean it's going to work well for someone else.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure you'd experience that with everything that you're.
Massively, yeah.
And that's, I'm sure you'd have to be careful in what you tell people, because they'd mix and match and say, oh, Adam told me this works, and does this. It's like,
that's
no,
right.
it doesn't do that.
That's right. And when I put things up, and I'm a big believer in the peptides, I've been using it now for coming on to a decade, or if not longer now. And there's certain things that are out there that are amazing, and I truly believe they work, and they have worked for me. I've used certain things for torn pec, for a meniscus tear, things that have worked for me to help me get back on to squatting again after. And the funny thing is, all my injuries didn't come from lifting; they came from work, from doing concreting.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
So unless I was better, I couldn't work. So working part time for my father, I was able to have access to certain things, but I still had to do a blood test and know what was going on with myself, MRI scans, all that sort of stuff, and it actually helped me a lot faster because I was using the right products, because I knew what was going on.
Exactly.
So it's education. I think now is changing. I do believe with social media and things we have access to on different platforms, if we can get the right education out there, especially for the young ones coming through, I think it's so much better and so much healthier and safer for guys to actually know what's going on internally before you choose to go down that route. I'm not saying it's wrong, because I'm from the PD side of things as well. I don't think it's wrong. I'm not against it. I just believe in making sure you're doing the right ones.
Dude, this is why I came to you originally, because me as a pro bodybuilder, I'm a father. I want more kids. Pro bodybuilding will stop one day. And although I'm lean all year round and people think I look athletic, it's still not healthy to be carrying around 130 plus kgs of body mass.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether it's fat or muscle. It's still just as unhealthy, right? So long term, I want someone looking over my shit, man. I want someone making sure that I'm healthy and I'm doing the right things, and giving myself the best chance to say, just because everything's great now, how am I going to be in 10, 20, 30 years?
Yeah, that's right.
It's the longevity of things, bro. I want to, I want to be able to be there, as Nai's growing up and going through all the years, and I have more kids and things like that. I know the bodybuilding will stop, and people need to look at those things as well. They need to be looking at all their general health.
Yeah.
More than just for performance in the gym.
And it's funny you said, I was just touching on when you just said about having kids. If you like young guys, and I'm referring to guys, there are a lot of women out there now that are going down this path too. And hormonal wise is something men and women both need to get their bloods checked, especially if you're choosing this path. But for guys, before I got into this business, and I'd done a few comps, this is going on nearly 11, 12 years ago. If you'd asked me, would I, in my head, where was I at when it came to family or having children or all that sort of stuff? It wasn't even in my head. So you don't cater for that when you pick up a needle, when you choose to go down that route and compete. You don't think of that. And in hindsight, I wish I had more, educational knowledge on what I was doing. And then getting into this business, it helped me a lot. And, I have a son now, which I'm so blessed to have, because I chose to always do my bloods, and wouldn't know where my fertility was at and where my free range was at, and all these sorts of things that allowed me to help me have a family. So
dude, I was the same, back then, thinking, oh yeah, I want kids one day, but I'll just, see what happens. And then people leave that stuff too late.
Yeah. So true.
And it's not even necessarily the gear that can actually cause those problems. It's just you not keeping in check with your bloods.
Yeah.
There could have been things with you wrong before you were cycling or shit, but in defense for yourself and even myself, 10 years ago, dude, the education wasn't around. So as much as the education is around, right, it's also just as bad, because there's also just as much bad information around. Everything's so readily available.
Totally agree.
And that's one thing I stress to guys, why would you put a price on your health?
Yeah.
I'd rather see someone and know what I actually have to do, rather than just listening to the bros in the gym. But I remember bro, it would have been 10 years ago, man. There was a guy telling me, um, he was telling me, he goes, oh yeah, you run this much test. I remember he was telling me, he said, you should be running 1,000 mega tren a week. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? You know, like even back then, I'm like, that just seems a bit too much. I didn't have the money anyway because I was
Yeah,
just a
'cause
fucking,
that's the other thing too, isn't it? It's financially you're going, yeah, not just the idea of 1,000 megs you inject in your body, but like how much does that cost in the long run? Like,
and here's the other thing too, you know, that's the other,
And
this,
that's
and,
just-
and
that's
this
just
is
an
why,
anabolic,
you know,
like-
you get a doctor looking after you because at the end of the day, you pay that money, you know, whatever works well for your body or what you should be taking. The other thing too is you're getting 100% use of that product.
Yeah.
10 years ago, you order something, right? How the fuck do you know if it was going to be?
Yeah, I know.
But that's even today too with the underground stuff, bro. You know, the amount of stuff that people, you know, they go, oh yeah, you know, I'll look at it and I'm like, oh, fuck, you know, like, oh no, my mate said it was a real, I'm like, fuck, man, you look,
Yeah, I know.
see a doc, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
know.
pay because that's the other thing too. Like people, the biggest thing I learned even when I was opening this gym, the most expensive thing you can do is take a shortcut.
Yeah.
You know, so people say, oh yeah, I might get stuff, you know, cheaper than or whatever it is, and they go down that path or whatever. I'm like, well, what are you paying for essentially as well? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
You're putting a price on your health. You know, for me, when I just look at it, my thing is just, you know, you're going to get in this game, get a doctor to watch your shit, get your bloods done, watch your health long. You know?
And look at this, and that was another thing like what we got into it for was we actually noticed, you know, with the business we're doing now is deviated quite bigly into injuries. You know, we were doing a lot of bodybuilders and powerlifters and fighters with, you know, we were going down that route with torn pecs and biceps and injuries and all that sort of things. We realized where the peptides were and that route was actually helping us a lot. And then there was a big shift change in we noticed men's health. You know, a lot of guys with depression, suicide. We have a couple of guys on board now that were 2 suicide attempts, depression, anxiety, aren't sleeping, no motivation in the morning. But these guys are like big blokes, family guys, and we realized their levels were so
Fucked.
bad. Like, I mean, like, you know, like a 12-year-old female had more tests than what these guys did, and they were trying to function. And you realize where like a lot of this men's health thing covers a big range when it comes to men's the testosterone side of things.
And here's another thing, dude. You know, like people now, you know, not that I'm knocking anyone here, but you know, we go down people where they want to, you know, they want to change their gender and things like that, and then they're allowed to take certain hormones to obviously assist with that. How come? The question I ask is that how come a male like myself or you, we go see a doc and we find out what we should be taking to be more of a male? Why does that get frowned upon?
I know. I
mean, we can get. I'm not here to bitch about anyone, but, you know, but what I'm trying to I'm trying to make aware for people is that what you're doing isn't wrong. You know, going out and seeking a doctor's help to get these levels checked and everything like that is not the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, because I mean, there are certain countries around the world that actually allow that for certain men over a certain age, and the longevity in males in some of these European countries, you know, in terms of the retirement age, there's no Centrelink, there's no guys aren't suffering from depression, there's no suicide. It's amazing, and it's all from one little thing, and that's just you know, testosterone. And it sounds really, really cliche, but it's so true. It's the main thing that we all function on. And if we can get more education out there and understanding, just to get your bloods done, get yourself checked, there are ways around it. Then also like the pharmaceutical, you know, prescription things, you know, antidepressants and all these other things, which you know,
Don't get me started.
Yeah, I know.
You know, but so the main message is it's not about that. You know, go take testosterone. The message is that go get yourself checked. So you can figure out what you should be doing through you guys.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what we do a lot of at the moment.
So obviously the elephant in the room, right? ICB is the new brand. Give us the rundown of what happened with all that bullshit many years ago.
Okay, so
I'm sure people are looking at it, they go, look, this is the guy. This is the guy.
Okay,
we want to hear about it.
Everyone, look, and look, so I'll touch base on where it all happened. So we had that clinic, it was called MRC.
And that's right, MRC,
Medical Rejuvenation Clinic, and it was based in Bondi Junction. So myself, my father, Steve Dank, and a former business partner of mine, we started that and we actually signed the lease, I think it was July the 4th, 2008. things were great. Like we had great compounders. Everything was Australian made. We had all the usual range, and it was very new back then. We had Steve Dank on board, who was our scientist behind all this. He was doing all the education, helping guys out, letting them know, what were the right products to take for certain, the way they were feeling, or bloods, or the way whatever it was. And things were great. Like, it was a great business. We were doing really, really well.
Sorry to cut you off. Back then, would you say 2008, 2010, something like that, peptides were still legal then?
Everything was still legal.
Like you didn't actually need to see a doc like you are now? Yeah.
It wasn't even on the banned substance list.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't even on the banned substance list at all.
All right. Okay,
so,
keep going.
I was driving down to a compounding pharmacy and picking up 30, 40 bottles of GHRP6 and driving back. It was not an illegal product. I just created a business out of this.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even on the banned substance list, and nor was it on the SADA or WADA list either. So, yeah, as a couple of years went by, things were going great. We were doing really well. Steve Dank, which I'm sure everyone has heard of now, I said before, he's a bit of a household name. He was also doing some part-time work to start with NRL clubs and Cronulla Sharks, Panthers, and then also with Essendon. His passion was AFL. So he was spending a little bit more time down in Melbourne. He was living in Sydney, but he was spending more time down in Melbourne helping out Essendon and being their sports scientist. So I'm coming from a business side of things and also the personal side of things, because I was one of the owners of the businesses, and having Steve on was great. Absolute scientist, and his knowledge is next level. I soon realized, as a business partner and someone that was meant to be helping us out for the business, we were paying him a wage, and he deviated, quite a lot, and was hanging out more down there, and was, helping out Essendon and doing all their sports science for them, not getting paid, by the way. We were paying him. He did all this for free with them. I'm not going to say, because Essendon are a big club, but were they using him for information? Like possibly.
Yeah.
But he certainly wasn't on their payroll. So,
Okay.
So go figure. And then obviously,
So at the end of the day, it was more so his choice.
it was his choice. He chose to do this. He
like
loved it. It was a passion for him.
They didn't
And
force him to do anything. He was just
that's
helping
right.
them out. Yeah.
And we used to tell Steve, you've got work up here. There's people lined up out the door that actually want to learn more about these products and I want your help. I was one of the owners of the business. I was the face of it. And yes, we did all the promotions and marketing for it. And I was in the gyms all the time and talking to guys about it, but they wanted to still speak to Steve. He was the guy behind the brains of it. And then, what was it? The 10th of February, 2010, it all came out and it was on the news, the darkest day in sport. I think they said on the media, one of the guys came out and it said it was the darkest day in sport.
Oh, you love the media?
Yeah, they're the best. They're awesome. I know. Quick for a story, I tell you.
Yeah.
Anything negative sells, that's for sure. And it completely changed that from that very first day, that 10th of February. I still remember it. I woke up and I remember turning on the news and they'd had Steve's name in the paper about using performance enhancing drugs in Essendon, and he'd been linked to Cronulla, and there was a big investigation going on. I think it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I can't remember. And I remember my fiance at the time, I said, I can't go into work. The media have got hold of this and the company name's on Channel 7. Just woke up. And she worked up the road, and I said, from where the office was, I said, can you just drive past and tell me the news van's there? Anyway, she didn't even have to hop out of the car. I think every
Traffic jam.
every news van was there, and TV and paper outlet was camped out the front of the office. I never reopened the office again until the whole thing blew over, which took a really long time. There was so much. I was in and out of crime commission for that business.
What, really?
Yeah, we went through.
Wait, sorry to cut you off. You said federal crime commission, everything like that. Why? Because the products were legal at the time anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So
I paid more tax on that business. The ATO loved me. The amount of that business, there was no cash. We paid everything. We had a website. I had mrc.com.au. You could go online and purchase
but if you were paying all your taxes and shit, yeah, and nothing was dodgy there, nothing was illegal at the time for what it was. What were they? Were they just trying to see if you guys were mixed up with the clubs themselves? Were you? Or
Yeah. So, that's when they decided to ban, obviously, and make Asada and Wada came in and banned those substances and all those products and claim them as performance enhancing, which if anyone knows a peptide, they're not a performance enhancing drug, but that was so they banned it all. It went on the list. And there was a huge investigation. When I say crime commission, they went through everything. From who we were linked to. And like anyone that knows me back in Sydney, like when you're young, you do stupid things. You're involved with people that sometimes in hindsight you wish you hadn't. But, the media made a huge deal of it, like a massive deal of
ex-crime boss.
Yeah, like they had this thing that
been through that.
The Anti-Doping Association, and we were involved with match fixing. Apparently, I was involved with match fixing in the
match
NRL.
fixing.
Oh yeah. I'll show you some links later on. So I was involved with match fixing. I was involved with certain bikie clubs back in Sydney, to which they named on TV. It was, and they also put up.
Let me guess though, you probably had someone who you didn't know was a bikie. Go see Steve for some help because he's walked through your door. Now all of a sudden you're associated with.
Oh no, I'll tell you how this happened. What they put on the news. So because I had liked a certain bikie club's page on Facebook,
yeah,
and because I clicked like on it,
you're now associated
with that bikie club because I liked it on Facebook.
It's cute,
and that's what they put on there. Yeah, I know. It's the media really went to town on this. They were looking for something huge out of this, and nothing ever came of it. And I think that sort of annoyed them.
Yeah. So on that part as well, nothing ever came of it. That was my next question, because I was watching all that, glued to the TV as everyone else was. But there was never really any result, because they even tried to go down and target out some players, and the players didn't get done for it either, because there was just kind of went to a dead end.
Well, there are certain things that you like. If the products weren't illegal or banned prior to the 10th of February 2010, and you knew they took it in 2008, what have they done wrong?
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
What have they done wrong? So to build this big circus over nothing, to target these guys for something that they hadn't done wrong, they were made out to do, and they're not on. And the funny thing is, not all the players did it. They had named a lot of names in the media, which hadn't done anything. And I know that for a fact. And I had, like I said, crime commission. I had, SADA, TGA. Everyone went through our business. They took all our records, every last internet order, everything was documented. I wrote receipts, every person's name, and I banked every last dollar, and nothing. So after the whole saga, which blew up quite big and it lasted quite a few years, there was some other businesses that I was involved with back at the time. I'll tell you what it was. My wife hates it because it made her face. They put her face in the paper for this. But I also, for about a year and a half, owned an escort agency back in Sydney with my former business partner as well. And so when you did an ASIC search, that came up as the owner of an escort agency. Mm. So, and then the Daily Telegraph did a big page 3 article soliciting prostitution involved with bikies and blah, 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 and this. But the picture they put in the paper was a picture of my fiance at the time. So when that makes it to the news and there's like escorts, so my wife's family, Lebanese Maronite Catholic, and first thing her father does in the mornings, open up the Daily Telegraph, and then there's me and and his daughter in the paper, and there's all this stuff about prostitution, escorting, bikies, match fixing, blah 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 blah. It wasn't a real good look when you're looking like me. I just asked my future father-in-law for a hand in marriage, and this article comes out in the paper. So
you're looking like fucking Al Capone.
Yeah, like it was just a nightmare. There were certain parts of that time were just nightmare. The media were just unbelievable when it came to their search for for everything, And there was one particular reporter, I think he messaged or had rung 11 of my friends and offered $1,000 each for any dirt that they had on me. Out of the 11, 9 of them rang me to tell me and actually gave me the guy's number to confront him myself, which I did, and didn't want to didn't want to meet me, but he rang 11 of my friends and offered them $1,000 each for dirt. They were just looking for anything. They didn't care about the truth. Like, when they were asking for interviews on 60 Minutes, Today Tonight, Channel 7, all these different news outlets are asking for, we have an interview with you and your dad or with Steve and blah, blah, blah. I said, yep, but we'll bring all this stuff along. All the work we've done with HIV patients. No, that doesn't sell papers. What about all the stuff we did with cancer patients and peptides? No, that doesn't, it's good news. It doesn't sell. What about diabetes? No, doesn't sell. We don't want that. So you only want the bad. You want me to come on and just basically defame myself so you can sell a paper. None of that mattered. It was really interesting. I saw a real different outlook, a view of how the media really work.
Do you watch the news anymore?
I watch it, but don't believe it. That's for sure. I pick up the Daily Telegraph and I flick. You just look at pictures. You don't you don't read it because I know firsthand.
People say to me all the time, "Oh, did you watch what happened on the news last?" I'm like, I can't remember the last time I watched the news.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Yeah.
So what's frustrating out of that whole saga is obviously you proved your innocence and everything like that.
Yep.
What were they? Were they just trying to prove that you were selling to the players or what? Like,
yeah,
what were you trying to?
It was a weird.
What was their whole point behind it all?
We went through a couple of lawyers and we were trying to go through defamation because the hardest thing was, my father and I obviously sharing the same last name. There's four people as business owners of this business, and Steve Dank was already a household name by week 2 of this whole saga. And then, my father and I, that the last name just kept getting dragged through the mud a lot. It was hard. My mum, copped a lot of slack. It was very hard in her line of work. My mum was in the Defence Force for 29 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So, at certain levels, in the Defence Force, and then having all this stuff in the media, and it really wasn't a good look, and it was tough for us, especially when the media were just looking for something that they knew wasn't there. They just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to the point where it became such old news that everyone knew there was nothing. We didn't do anything wrong. I got an unofficial apology in my barrister's chambers for all the drama that had happened by certain legal departments and in government.
So you got an unofficial. Yeah. So barrister chambers, what's that mean? You go like in a secret spot and they say sorry, but no one else can know we said sorry.
Pretty much.
You fucking serious?
Yeah. So it's interesting how certain things work. I'll tell you, it gives you a different outlook. And when you see, and don't get me wrong, there are real crims out there and there are real shit that happens out there. But when you see things in the news and you think, oh, wow, this guy's done something wrong, sometimes, you really have to you got to go find your own truth.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I can't watch the news, because probably, they might be telling the truth, but I can't believe it because I've been put through the same shit, dude. And knowing what they can say and how they can spin it, it's like, I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah. There's that underlining word which gets them out of trouble is allegedly. So you can write a full article on someone,
but as long as
defame the absolute shit out of their name and character and as a man or of a woman or of a person. But as long as you're at the end, allegedly.
Sweet.
But you've planted the seed in 2 million.
Yeah. Paint the picture,
And I think the accountability on some of the news outlets is woeful.
So with the the unofficial apology?
Yep.
Never heard of that. Okay. So you've got your unofficial apology.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Adam, for fucking you around, right? Now, what happens after that? Like, can you go back and sue them for fucking, because you would have had to spend a lot of money on barristers and shit, dude.
So we were in the process of doing a defamation case because there was so many different articles from, I'm going to say there's Fairfax Media and a whole bunch of them that, there was so many articles. Our name was dragged through it. And I went for the ones, not so much on the business. I was over that. It was my personal name, my father and I, and a lot of the shit that we went through as a family. So we were seeking defamation. And anybody that knows, especially with how big that whole thing was for so many years, the defamation case, as much as they go, yep, you're entitled to this, you never receive it. And also the time that it takes, I gave up. And I'll be honest with you, the time, like I'd still be there now. And it's been like 10 years. I'd still be there now. You're just constantly going in a freaking, in a circle with court cases and then this and all. You've got to try and find, what did they say and was it slander? Did they know about it? It's just a never ending process. It really was. So
the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
No. So, I think they know that they get away with that. And you sort of got to bite the bullet. But for me, I was over it. It came a point in my life when my wife and I I think we're just at a stage where I'd had enough. I had to move on. You'd either do your head in every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew who my true friends were. I had a really good job once I left that industry for a little bit to get out of it. I say the health and but out of that saga, you find out who your people that stand by you, who they really are, the ones that love it when the business is going great and there's money and everything. And then the ones that, when all that saga happens, everyone deletes your number, blocks you, does anything you do, just, social media, like, I've got no more friends anymore. What's going on here? If numbers are blocked and everything. So you find out who your true friends are, which I think in hindsight was the biggest blessing in disguise. I love that it kind of happened to me. I knew the shit that was tagging along that I thought were friends, and you bring down this pool of people down to the palm of your hand, which is I actually love now. Actually the guy that bought him is the tea. He's been there since day one. He's never left my side.
Dude, what's funny, man? I take things far less personal these days. For multiple reasons, because there's three people that I look at. Someone that's put you in a hard spot, left you in a hard spot, or left you in a hard spot. And when I look at those three people, and those things can change at any time, but when you look at those people and you go, you know what, you left me in a hard time, you put me in a hard time, but now I just know you're one of those three people. I know where you stand. So it's not like I don't like the person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So someone left you in a hard spot, I think, fuck you. It's just, you're just that person.
Yeah.
That's all good. Now I know where you stand. I can still be friends with you. I can still engage you or do business with you, whatever it is. I just know that's your type and where you see me. I know where I stand. Anything I do after that, if I do anything extra for them, it's my choice. If they come back and fuck me over, there's no point sitting there because that's the type of person that they are.
That's right.
So obviously blessing in disguise. But when did you kind of decide? So you obviously got yourself out of that and had a break from it all and everything like that.
Yeah.
When did you decide that you actually want to come back and start helping people again?
Because so the weird thing was I got out of it. I moved out of the area as well, from where the business was. My wife and I moved out, and she'd fallen pregnant at the time. So we moved out west of Sydney area. So anyone doesn't know, if we were living in the Bondi, Sydney area.
Moved in the deep west, eh?
That's right. And then we moved out west to if anyone knows Granville, it's my wife's Lebanese, so we certainly fitted the culture out there. Yeah. But I love it. I call it home now. It's probably one of the best places in the world. It's home to me. So we moved out there. My son was born, and I stayed in the construction industry for a while. I started working for a friend of mine. He took me on in concreting. I did that for a bit, and then did some night works, did a lot of the tunnels and road maintenance and night works on the freeways, tunnels and major roads for a couple more years. But in that time, I was always still part-time working for my father. It was just something that I wasn't ready to go back to just yet.
Sounds like you had a passion for it.
Oh, I never left it. The gym was still my second home, if not my first. Even when I was concreting, training, living the lifestyle was still always a major thing for me. I never gave it up, never quit. I was in the gym still 5-6 days a week, whether it be after a 14-hour night shift on the road, home, sleep 4 or 5 hours, back to the gym. And I still lived the lifestyle. I loved it, never got out of it, never wanted to be away from it. I just wasn't working in it. And look, when I talk about health and fitness and peptides, that was the main, they are the clientele that did bring in our bread and butter. So I thank that industry because it has brought the business to where it is today. And I just love that more people now in that industry are coming to me for that education and understanding that, they're not just going to the backyard places and then buying certain PEDs. They're actually coming to get their bloods. They want to learn more about what's going on with themselves internally and making a healthier choice. Still wanting to go down that path, which is great. It's fine. I'm not against it. Just knowing what's going on internally, but to get the actual right product before they do
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yep. And look, as a hindsight, people get confused when they say, when you guys look at bloods, it's like when someone comes to me and I look at a diet, you know, someone might be better with higher carbs, someone might be better with higher fats, higher
100%.
protein, or whatever it is. You know, same with training. Some people work better with low volume, high intensity, whatever it is.
Yep.
You know, so you just got to apply that, you know, because when I say to people, you know, oh, what's your training program? It's like, dude, it doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply, you know. So that's how people have to have that mindset with these kind of products.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, but the products also align with what you do. Like, I mean, I can give you a script for, you know, all the products according to your bloods, but a lot of your bloods is based on everything you put in your mouth too.
Yes.
So, you know, one comes with the other. So in terms of a guy going, yep, you know, I need to lose weight, blah, blah, blah. You know, I need to bring down some fatty tissue, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, we can help you. But you've also got to stop eating Hungry Jacks after you go train.
Course,
That's not your post-workout meal anymore. You need to change this as well. And when you are thirsty, you can't be having still constant Diet Coke. You've got to switch to water.
Exactly.
There's all these other little things. Like you've got to change everything. You can't just come in.
Problem, you probably find a lot of guys, men and women, come to you thinking that you have the magic pill to fix them.
All the time. And you see it in return. You know, some guys go, yep, I've gotten some results. It's probably not what I thought. I'm like, yep, but internally, some of your blood levels are looking great. But the ones where, you know, your cholesterol and everything, where that still relies on your food, how's that? And like, yeah, I've changed it a bit. So you've gone one extreme and gone down this path, but you haven't done it with this thing here. So, you know, it's like sleep, food, you know, whatever it is that you're taking, nutrition, all have to align together. You can't just, you know, I'm sleeping better and I'm taking your products, but my food's
no, it doesn't.
But but that needs to be just as good as that.
Yeah, good. I need people to hear that part of things, you know, because it is, man. Like, you know, and for years, like the first half of my bodybuilding career, you know, I come in and train legs till I'm crawling out of here vomiting, and then I wouldn't eat for 6 hours because I just couldn't be fucked. So I was just too tired, you know, which is, you know, that happens. But it's like, I look back now and I'm like, man, those leg days are actually probably putting me backwards. You know, what's next for you, man? What's next on the agenda? Because you're always busy, you're always working, you're always up to shit, you know. So,
mate, so look, if I'm completely honest, that the future with the business, I want to grow. I want it to come, you know, interstate. I want it to make it huge. You know, I want people to learn more about ICB and what it is that we do and how we can help people. Whether it be for, like I said, everything across the board. You know, we talked a lot about training, but there's everything from, you know, guys who are having depression, you know, anxiety, erectile dysfunction, you know, hair treatment, skin rejuvenation, fertility, all these different areas where hormones and testosterone cover the whole body. That's what we do. So we cover everything. Yes, like the training side of things is massive. In terms of moving forward, we're producing some pretty good content with a documentary that we're hoping to launch really, really soon.
That'd be cool, man.
I'm keeping it a little bit under wraps until we finish it. Otherwise, certain outlets won't take it on if you disclose too much. But there's some big things happening with so a documentary we're producing, and also the Neubie Machine, which
you're doing a lot of work with that. I see.
I love it.
That's an area as well. Like, you know, speaking to Jimmy about, had him on my YouTube recently. I see you working very closely with Jimmy. Seeing that come out, it's been awesome. Obviously, you guys are incorporating that now from the States. Yeah.
Look, I got into it because I originally, you're right. I'm in business with Jimmy Sadek, and it's actually been a pleasure to work with him. He's next level to work with. He's the funniest character.
He's one of the guys, when you look up hardest worker in the room, he works hard, man.
He's funny. If he could work 24 hours a day, I'll tell you he would, and just sleep in his car. He's just the funniest bloke when it comes to that. But I got into the Neubie after watching his YouTube, and then after COVID, there was another guy who bought the Neubie Machine as well, and he was training at a World Gym Chalorna, Andre Tadero. And I was doing a lot of work with Andre. We trained together, and he was at the same gym that I was at. So I started doing a few sessions. I think 19 sessions. I was loving it. I was in love with it. I was using it weekly. Every Thursday I was training with Andre on the machine. I did a couple of sessions with Jimmy. And then I approached my father about it because at the clinic, I said, you know what? I want to buy a machine. And I showed him it. He came down. He did a session as well on it. My dad, even my father's like, yeah, like he thought this was amazing. So we bought in 2 machines. So the company bought it through ICB, and we thought there's an even bigger picture here when it came to the machine and learning more about it and education, which is what I think is one of the biggest things when you bring on a product is education. So we approached Jimmy about it and said, let's bring the machines in. So Jimmy and I are currently working on, or we are being the Australasian distributors for this machine. Starting a business, hopefully get it out to a few different outlets all around Australia and start something big with it, and doing education and training with it.
Yeah, dude, I think that's a huge part. I think one thing that you're saying to me before, tap into is the actual health precinct for NDIS. Return veterans. Even the amount of times I used it for me. I love using it for me because I've always had previous pec tears and stuff like that.
Yep.
Where with me, I'm very strong and I just tear a muscle real quick because I get too strong real quick. But that humbles me a bit.
Yep.
Allows me to connect better with the muscle. And then I straight away think, I'm like, imagine the amount of people that have had huge sporting injuries that, NRL players that can't train the gym anymore. That's what they've been told. They can't train the gym anymore, Either in car accidents. So, you can't train the gym anymore. It's just going to, you might aggravate this or that. I think the Neubie opens up so many pathways, which I think you guys you haven't even tapped into yet, to further expand it as well.
Well, Jimmy's done some amazing things. I mean, I've used it on myself, but Jimmy has done, if anyone doesn't know and you see his Instagram, and some of the things that he's done with 2 particular clients, which I think is amazing. And I've seen them firsthand. One of them came in with, he has MS, he's got drop foot, and just dragging his right foot. And Jimmy had him on the machine in the bath. And after a few sessions, the guy was walking out heel to toe. And that's amazing.
Imagine the feeling for Jimmy just seeing that.
Yeah, and then you got a guy like that who's done every other possible type of treatment, has forked out a fuckload of money to try and help himself, and then just stumbles across a social media page with Jimmy with this machine, drives up from Canberra once a week.
Man, from Canberra once a week?
Doesn't live in Sydney. Drives from Canberra, gets on the machine, and he's walking heel to toe.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
So cool. There's what this machine can do is just amazing. I think everyone should actually, if you haven't looked into it, it's just a phenomenal machine, especially for rehab side of things, like you said, for healing, injuries, tears, PTSD, trauma, all that sort of stuff is amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And look, as I said, where you guys are pushing towards, you obviously want to start pushing that Australia-wide. Because I know when because you guys obviously hire the gym out here on when you're doing rockstar shifts up here for weekends and things like that.
Yep.
So, you guys looking to, bring out courses and things like that to get more people working on, because you guys be in heavy demand.
Yeah, 100%. So Jimmy's doing all the training protocols. Currently as we speak, we're going to be doing seminars. That's our future goal, is to get out there, show people the machine, do seminars, do training courses. The idea is to get the machines out there.
Because with you guys having so much experience behind you as well, you'd probably be generating yourselves towards people that are having some sort of, you can't just kind of get your ET course and then come in and get your UB course. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
you have to have a good understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. And the machine, it's not hard to learn, but if you're passionate about what you do, it becomes easy. It's an interesting machine, especially when you use it on people and you see the benefits and how it's worked. My father, one of the first sessions my dad ever did, he's got tennis elbow. My dad's 72, still fights, loves training, still gets into those martial arts. And his left arm has just been on his elbow, tennis elbow, all the way up through his tricep. It's woeful. Sometimes he can't even pick up his phone. He'll sit there.
Bad, really?
Yeah, sometimes he'll just there and he'll sit there, he'll go to pick it up and it just kills him. He's got to drop his phone. He's done a couple of sessions on it. We will go up and I'll put the machine on him and he'll get the band and just do certain movements. And I'll have the machine on him for about half an hour and he'll go and train. He'll go and do a set of arms. He's haven't been able to do that for about 3-4 years. So yeah, that side of things and probably doing more of the rehab and training with that side of things, I think is next level.
As I said, man, guys like Jimmy, yourself, it's hard to keep up with you. You're always hyperactive moving,
Yeah, 2 hyperactive guys together. Yeah. You just see our text messages. You're
nonstop.
Yeah, nonstop.
No, it's good to hear, man. I love it. I love hearing all the background story of what you had to show today. it's good to hear the direction and where you're going as well. You know, I love, you know, supporting your business and being a part of it all as well, you know. So it's good to see you guys, you know, progress in the future. And what we're going to do as well, just like everyone, you know, I do want you guys to reach out to ICB, for all the viewers listening here today. Reach out, have a chat. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. Just further educate yourselves.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. You know, like you guys are wanting to do this, and
I want people to understand too is that like when you come on board, there's no like come in, do a set of bloods. You can get a full blood count, full blood review, and a full blood report. Don't have to buy anything, but even just for peace of mind to know where you're at, that's one of the biggest things. Yeah, 100%, just peace of mind. If you're feeling a certain way.
At the end of the day, you guys are doing this, you know, and I stress to you, you know, you have someone here doing this as a business now with a full team behind them. And I didn't have this availability when I was coming up. You know what I mean? Like I was listening to all the bros in the gym and this and this and this. And you know, I look at this now and like you guys have the opportunity now to reach out to someone that is, you know, you have a team of educators and professionals behind you, you know, to look after you and make sure your health is best for you in the current moments to perform your best, but also for longevity as well.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest, the longevity side of things is huge.
So yeah, all the socials are attached to the podcast across all platforms. So we'll wrap it up here today, mate. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. It's awesome.
Anytime. And until next time, guys, we're out.